Next up in the workshop, we're going to find out who is Witchborn. Is it you? Hi, today in the workshop we are going to look at the miniatures for Witchborn Enter Perdition by the Witchborn Corporation. And the miniatures are done by Reaper Bones Miniatures, so they come more or less, they are a single piece or single cast. It looks like them, or at least they have been put together, pre-assembled. So, and what I am going to be working on today are one of the I'm sorry, I can't think of the name right at this moment, but if I do, I will come back to that. But it's one of the, I think they're called the Purebloods, and it looks like that they are lichen or possibly, folks who have been transformed into animals, or possibly animals that just have been anthropomorphized. Either way, we're going to start with the mighty bear. Got a couple of other guys as well. We do have a wolf. So, your standard kind, possibly your standard kind of werewolf. And then we have a boar, which will be kind of fun to do. Yeah. All right. But we're going to start with the bear. On the bear, I am going to take color Rhinox hide. Give it a shake. We're going to take our regiment brush, wherever I put it. Grab ourselves a little water. Rhinox hide. Water down a little bit. And then we're basically just going to go nuts. Not going to worry too much about being any kind of neat or tidy at the moment. So it doesn't matter where the paint gets to, because this is literally the base layer for the fur. And he's got a lot of it. And I'm doing them as a brown bear, as that's what the face sculpt suggests to me. And this one we're going to be doing a lot of the fur and everything kind of right off the hop before we get into any of the other details. Because there will be a lot of dry brushing. Before we get in there and start picking out the details. So yeah, at this point, if you're, if you're painting a miniature kind of like this, don't worry too much about where your paint over the other details. Don't worry too much about getting paint on the other details. Right now it's literally just getting that fur. As you can see, it's a little bit time consuming with this brush. Could have gone with a bigger brush, but I chose what I chose. So again, we're not being super careful with the paint. I'm just trying to get it all on there. If we do overpaint parts and paint onto other details, right now, don't matter. As we will fix things later on. Actually, while I have this color out, we're going to do the boar as well. Saves a little bit of time. And on this one, we can go hog wild. Yeah, I know. That was horrible. But, it was there. It was low hanging fruit. I had to take it. Oh, yeah. Of course, we've got some fancy things all. I got fancy things all kind of set aside for the boar. Had to catch myself there. Wasn't sure if I was going to say boar properly or if I was going to say Borg, like the Star Trek villain. If I remember from way back, actually just a couple videos ago when I painted some Klingon miniatures, some from Mordifius and some from Gale Force 9. I'm actually a rather large Star Trek fan. Which is why, for the first one, for the Mordifius Klingons, I actually dressed as a Klingon. But It has nothing to do with this guy right now. This has nothing to do with the boar. So far, from the looks of these guys here, they're actually pretty detailed. I mean, they are Reaper miniatures. The Reaper does pretty decent miniatures. I've gone to my gaming stores. And I've seen walls or possibly even large displays of Reaper miniatures, because they've kind of just about made a miniature for any contingency in fantasy that you might run across. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we are going to base the wolf at the same time, but not before we take some Abrax Earthshade, give it a good shake. Find my Citadel shade brush. Take our bear. And we're going to slap Agrax all over it. It helps sink the shading. Into the fur. want to make sure that I'm moving the shade around. Not letting it pull too much in any one area. And we're just kind of dragging the shade around so that we can make sure that we get into all the nooks and creases and crannies and nooks and crooks and all the other good stuff. There we are. And then we're going to do the same thing to the boar, because but between doing that and finishing basing the boar and doing the wash on the bear, the boar has dried. And again, I'm just going to give him an all-over wash of this the Agraxer shade. Of course, this will also help pick out his features quite nicely, because he's a very muscular, very muscular sculpt. So I want to make sure that the shade will settle into the muscle, into the recess of the muscle groupings, and give us a good definition. And it's moving it all around and making sure that it's pooling in the right spots. And it's not pooling too much in different spots. And now the wolf is probably going to start out as just a straight gray wolf. And for that, we're going to use our Mechanicus Standard Gray. And we will work our way up in different spots. This guy's a little smaller. It probably won't take quite as it definitely won't take quite as long. And this is where, you know, if you want, you can do a realistic kind of fur pattern on them, or make up one on your of your own. Haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. I have a few ideas though. But basically right now it's literally just trying to get the paint into all the little crevices. Oh, silly me. I'm using my shade brush as a base brush. Not that it's going to hurt it or anything like that, but you know, just being a little silly, being a little weird. There we go. Now we'll go back to the proper brush. You know, I've been actually kind of looking forward to getting my hands on a werewolf type creature. Giving it a good crack. So now I have almost got the 3 miniatures that come in this set. Oh, the creatures themselves, not their scenic bases. Those will be later. Almost got the creatures themselves. paste and ready to go. Now we will let the paint on him dry. Oh, excuse me. Oh, pardon me. There we are. Cleaning your brushes or washing your brushes is always a good thing. Okay. Put him off to the side. Back to the bear. The bear's almost dry. There's a few spots. And they're still a little liquidy. That's okay. And I don't think I really want to go on to anything else quite yet until he's dry. But let's take a look at the boar. See how he's doing. The boar has some spots that are still wet. Mostly in the main, right back here and right in there. That's one of the I guess bad parts, I can call it that. One of the bad parts about painting is that when you get to a certain point, oh my goodness. Oh, again, I apologize. When you get to a certain point, just kind of have to wait. There we go. Basilicum gray. Yep, that's the color I want. So I'm going to use a contrast paint over top of the wolf because I don't want to give it black, but I want to deepen the color of the fur. So I'm going to use a contrast paint called Basilicum Gray. And I am going to thin it out a little bit with the contrast medium, which kind of works like water, but it doesn't lessen the pigment cover. So as you can see, it's moving into the folds and creases of the fur, and it's darkening it up, and it's, you know, it's giving us the kind of crispness that I want. Without taking away too much from the undercoat base color. And what it's doing is settling in all the recesses of the musculature and of the fur. It's giving us a nice dark gray. So yeah, it's giving us a nice base to work off of. There we go. Now, let's hope I remember to put this one away first before we go on to anything else. Here. Okay. Again, we'll go back to the bear. Perfect. Now comes the fun part. The fun part is we're going to take some of that Rhinox hide. And we are going to go in with the dry brush. Once I decide which dry brush to use, that is. And then we're just going to kind of hit them. I don't necessarily want it super heavy. We just want to brighten up that brown again. And of course, for those of us who may not know, a dry brush is putting some color on your brush and then wiping the majority of it back off. And then kind of lightly going over your miniature. And the paint should hit the high spots and leave your low spots with your previous color. Of course, with a critter like a bear, the hair kind of has the tendency to go in different directions. So you'll have to choose which direction works best for you. Alright, the boar's not quite ready yet. Well, that's right. Now we are going to go to a color that it looks like I already have out here called Mournfang Brown. I know it's quite a jump from that's that, but don't worry. It'll work out. Remember, he's a brown bear. Again, wipe off a good chunk. The Mournfang Brown. You know what? I wipe that one off. kind of see how I'm working it up. I'm keeping it a little bit lighter. Except in some spots where I want an actual lighter colored fur. I'm going to go a little bit heavier. I feel like I've kind of decided the elbow joint and maybe the shoulder, up to the shoulder, are going to be a bit brighter of a brown. And it doesn't have to be, symmetrical. I find that patterns in fur are rarely, if ever, symmetrical. There we are. It's coming along pretty decent. You can see the start of the different colors. I'm actually looking up the next color because I have forgotten what color it is that I should be using. Color called Skag Brown. And again, we're going to be doing the same thing. And that's the color. And again, this is going to be an even lighter dry brush. And this is going to just kind of catch catch the tip of the highest points. And of course, you want to build up any spots that you want a lighter brown. Like the hands, or like I said, kind of the arm. Do I have anything a little bit lighter still and in that range? But you know what? That's for another day. I'll figure that out between then and now. Well, that's pretty good for the first hour. We got 3 miniatures base coated and given a wash so that we can pick out the details nice and easy. And we started dry brushing on the bear. So, this is our introduction to the Witchborn miniatures by Reaper Bones Miniatures. And we'll be continuing next week. So, until then, stay safe, be safe, most of all, paint safe, and we'll see you next time in the workshop.